We're here today talking about indoor air quality, beautiful outdoors, and all the things we breathe. But let me take you inside and talk to the experts. Where are we at today? Believe it or not, food court of the Oaks Mall. All right, so welcome to the Oaks Mall. Let's go find out about indoor air quality today.
Why are we going into the food court?
That is a great question. Believe it or not, the Oaks Mall houses one of the foremost experts in indoor air quality in our area. And no, it's not Chick-fil-A. So I now know it looks like we're standing in an empty mall. We are, because it's early. The only people that work this early is Chick-fil-A and North Central Florida Air Conditioning. Right there in the mall, right in the food court. All your air conditioning needs, your indoor air quality needs. 8 in the morning, 8 at night. So indoor air quality. We're here talking to experts like you to try to find out the answers for homeowners. What should a homeowner be concerned about? What should they be worried about? How do they know what their indoor air quality is? And how do they repair that or fix it in a sense? When maybe in their work and their businesses like this or ultimately in business. Sound good?
Sounds great.
Awesome. Why don't you just tell us a little bit about yourself, who you are, who you work for, why should I even care what you have to say?
Well, my name is Trey Tucker. I work in North Central Florida Air Conditioning. I'm a service tech, so that encompasses a wide variety of everything. We maintain units, we fix units, we design systems. Basically, anything indoor air quality, anything treating your air. If it's in your house, it's air, we take care of it.
Awesome. So, what about the air? What are the things about indoor air quality that we focus on?
So with indoor air quality, we're definitely trying to take out particulates from the air stream. So irritants, allergens, we filter those out.
Particulates are the stuff that's floating around that we're breathing in our lungs and noses and stuff.
Exactly, exactly. Those can cause a myriad of problems. So we filter those out. We also can use UV to basically clean the air with ultraviolet light, disinfect the air. We also remove humidity, which is a really big problem. There's mold, mildew, and all sorts of building issues here in Florida.
Florida, it's humid, right? All year round.
Definitely.
Then you have that one day.
Yeah.
One day. All right, so let's focus, let's narrow it down. I see you got filters here.
We do.
So let's talk about filters. Right? I go to Lowe's or Home Depot and there's 500 filters I can choose from little tiny things that I can see right through to these gigantic $50, $60, $100 filters, all the way to like stand-up units that how as a consumer do I know, where do I start? Do I just pick one and then keep going until I find the one that works for me?
That's a great question, and you could do that, but you're going to waste a lot of time and a lot of money, and still might not get the results that you want. So starting off, this is something that you see in a lot of the mini splits, a lot of the ductless systems. These are the types of filters, and you can see through that very well.
Can you see me? If you can see me, you probably are not doing well.
I'm going to steal that one. So, you can look at this. It might be hard to see on camera, but the holes look small, but they're not small enough because the particulates that we're trying to filter out are a whole lot smaller than that. But yeah, absolutely, I can see. So this would kind of be like the start, something like this, and they do have larger ones for regular AC systems that act very similar. We kind of call this cat catcher.
That's what I was going to say. I've heard these referred to as cat catchers.
Yeah, and it will stop a cat, but it might not stop an allergy.
So I like that. So this is just to keep things out of your system. And this is what came with the system. So the system was designed for just this.
Yeah.
If I don't really care about my indoor air quality and I want to save money, that is my option.
Yeah, if you're a slumlord, this is great. No, there's pros and cons to everything, right? And one of the pros for this is it really, really lets your unit breathe. So your fans last a little longer. It is washable, so over time you take this out every month, you wash it out. And like you said, if you're not experiencing any problems and you're sleeping perfect, you're breathing perfect, you're not having any allergy issues, and you have a super tight, nicely, newly built home, this might be fine for a while. So there's pros and cons to everything.
All right, so say I care a little,
Yeah.
right? I don't want to catch cats.
Yeah.
I want to catch something more than cats. How do I know where to go? What's my next?
The next step is pretty common. The next step, most bigger units get shipped out. Yeah, so this is going to be a typical kind of a lower end MERV 8 filtration. Exactly.
So he said a word there, MERV. So you guys are looking on, and a lot of filters started out with MERV, and now if you go to like Filterette or whatever, it'll say it's a 1200 or a 3000 or whatever. Honestly, those numbers, it's the MERV that you're concerned about. So MERV runs from 1 MERV all the way up to MERV 20. So the higher the number, the more it filters out. So MERV 20 filters everything in the world out. I don't even think I've seen a MERV 20 filter.
It's super rare and very, very specific applications. We can get those in your home. Typically, it's a little overkill. We're not trying to put hospital air in everyone. We could, but yeah, absolutely. That's great.
So a MERV 8,
what a MERV is.
you can't see through me. I can kind of see a little bit of light through this, but for the most part, it looks like it's, I mean, compared to the 2, it looks like this would be more. What does a MERV 8 filter?
So a MERV 8 is going to filter out the larger particulates. So you're not going to have a dust issue getting through this. It also will, some of the larger pollens, some of the larger allergens it's going to catch. A MERV 8 does a decent job, but the problem with a MERV 8 in a 1-inch filter is the back pressure and how often you need to change this. Most people, they forget about their AC system. It's just a fact. So if you put something like this in your home AC system, like an air handler or a furnace, you need to change these monthly. And maybe if you have cats, dogs, a leaky home, maybe even more often to let it work optimally. So MERV 8, if you're not having severe allergy problems, can definitely help a lot. It's a lot better than something like that.
So why do I have to change that monthly?
So the holes, if you hand me that, Rick, thank you. The holes being bigger on this will take forever to clog. It will happen eventually, but there's bigger holes, so it takes a lot longer to clog up. You pull it out, you wash it. With something like this, the holes being the MERV 8 are definitely smaller, meaning that it filters more than this. Not as much as we'd like to see, but it filters more than this. But those smaller holes clog up quicker. So with that happening, eventually the smaller particulates is going to compact this, and you're not going to be able to get enough airflow through to keep comfortable and let your fan work well.
All right, so it's not necessarily changing it out for indoor air quality reasons, it's changing it out for the performance of the system.
Mostly the performance of the system, but if you clog the middle of this, you're going to start pulling around, and you're not going to be actually pulling through the filtering medium. A little bit at least. So mostly the performance, but you definitely lose air quality when you start pulling around more, because it's designed to have the low back pressure when it's new.
So particulate is measured in microns.
Absolutely.
The bigger the micron, the bigger the particulate. So what we look at is, do I need an air filter or do I need a vacuum filter? So a tester will test what's in your air. You don't know, do I need, for my indoor air quality, to vacuum, like a nice expensive HEPA filter vacuum cleaner, or a nice expensive filter for my air. So that threshold is about, what, a 10 on the micron scale?
Yep.
All right, so we're talking about particulates. 10 microns or greater.
Yep.
That's the stuff that when you go and you see it on your countertops.
It's big enough and it's heavy enough that it's going to fall out of the airstream. It's going to hit your carpet. It's going to hit your surface. And so you're going to, dust or Swiffer up some of it on the tops of your cabinets, on your tables.
So if I got this filter all the way up in the top of my ceiling, is it doing me any good? Okay.
absolutely not.
So if I have, if the bulk of my issue is larger particulates, then what would you refer that to? Like vacuuming and getting rid of your carpet, or what is that?
Yeah, carpet is nice for a lot of things, but air quality carpets, we actually have carpet in here for good reason in the commercial space. But if you can find a way to get to tile or hardwood floor, that's definitely going to help your air quality. It's just kind of a harbor for all sorts of stuff, and then it comes back up if you kick it, you breathe it in, and it settles back out. But what I refer them to, other than maybe a flooring company, would be a really good vacuum cleaner. And we're lucky now with Amazon to have some really good options for that. And that's nothing to do with us, so you don't have to buy that from us, but a good HEPA vacuum cleaner with larger particulates is things go wrong.
So how do I know if I have that problem, or if I have the finer, say it was like PM 2.5,
Yep.
The finer particles that say suspended in?
Well, you can call us, and we can come out and test. So there's something that they say all the time in the business, that you're not testing, you're guessing. And this is a great example of that. So we come through and we actually, I don't know if you want to play with this, but it'll tell you the level of PM 2.5 and PM 10, which is just the amount of particulates. And we walk around, we don't do it in one spot because that's kind of disingenuous. Kind of take an overall reading, an overall average, and just see where your problem is.
All right, so here I got a guy on the top with a green happy face.
Yeah.
It says zeros next to it. So I'm like, that's good.
Yeah.
So this would tell me when it gets bad.
It would tell you when it gets bad.
And there's two readings over here. One says PM 2.5, one says PM. Right now they're both at zero. So right now this is telling me I don't have a large bunch of stuff floating around.
Exactly. We do a really good job here in the shop.
Oh, just went up to one. Sorry, Pop.
One is not a problem. We're looking, we have some ranges when we come out, we bring literature to back that up. But we do a really good job of, we've got 2 or 3 different types of UV systems on our air handler. We also have a really nice filtration system. So we do a good job in here, better than most people do in their home, but we want to set a good example.
I was going to say, we came into an HVAC company, and if this thing went off the charts and started yelling at me, I think we'd have to end the interview and go find a different person.
We'd have to do it, yeah. And I'd understand if you did.
All right, so what I'm hearing you say is a MERV 8 is an adequate filter. If, again, like this, if I'm not overly concerned, it will last about a month or 3 months, depending on how dirty my house is. But is only really catching the stuff that's not staying in the air long.
True.
So it's meant to catch the bigger particles, and if it's up in your ceiling, it's not actually doing a good job at catching the bigger particles, because those particles are down in your carpets and on your surfaces.
Yeah, not
Unless you smack it in it.
exactly. You have a house party and a lot of people are moving around and it's getting stirred up, and it's definitely doing the job of a vacuum cleaner pretty well. The other there's some benefits to these. They're cheap. They're easy. You don't have to do any add-ons. You don't have to add filter rags. So we always talk about pros and cons. Here at Northwood Ford Air Conditioning, we're not telling you exactly what you have to do. We're educating, we're giving options. And so for certain people, the cat catcher is going to be fine. For certain people, a typical factory cheaper 1-inch filter is going to be fine. There are some other cons to this performance-wise. So with your AC system, if you forget to change this, so let's not talk about robbing lifespan from your fan, because it works harder to pull through the air through the filter. But what we can talk about is lack of cooling in your home. If this clogs up some, you're moving in and out, you're doing some spring cleaning, get all that in the air, you forget about your AC filter. This clogs up, you're not moving as much air, and suddenly you're not cooling down nearly as much. So you get done with spring cleaning, it's the next month after that, you try to turn your AC on and get it down a little bit because you start to get hot, and your unit's freezing up. You're not getting as much airflow to the kid's bedroom, and they're crying. So it can cause...
So you said your unit's freezing.
Yes.
I was always under the impression if my unit freezes, I need Freon.
Sometimes. There's 2 main reasons why your unit freezes up. One would be a low refrigerant charge, which people call that Freon, but that's a brand name. So a low refrigerant charge absolutely can do it. The second reason, and a lot of times just as common or more common, is low airflow. low airflow can come from the fan issue. But more often than not, it comes from a combination of a dirty filter, an undersized filter, and or a dirty coil, which happens because of bad filtration. So you don't have enough warm air coming across the coil to cool down.
So if my coil froze,
Yep.
and a guy comes out and doesn't check my filter and throws refrigerant in and charges me $400, that may or may not fix it.
And I've seen that more often than you'd be surprised, right? I was in a call once where the homeowner was changing their filter. When you buy these from Home Depot, they come in these plastic covering. So the homeowner gets down there, take the plastic covering off. I assume they turn around and magically their plastic gets thrown away for them. They didn't have to take care of that day.
Magically.
Yeah,
Just
it
disappeared.
was magic plastic.
Yeah.
And so they put the filter in and it starts freezing up. I was the third tech from 3 different companies. We didn't send out 3 of our own techs. And it took my 3rd or 4th visit to actually do an inspection of the coil and the filter to find out that there was plastic all on the coil. So I pulled the plastic out, I put the filter back in. I did have to remove some refrigerant that previous companies had installed and charged for. So yeah, you need to do a really good inspection. If your system's freezing up, it doesn't mean it's refrigerated all the time.
So I find it funny that you do say that, because on the directions of the package, it actually says remove from the package before inserting. And I always laugh that, like, who would not do that?
Someone's done that.
Someone, at least one,
Yeah.
or attempted to remove it from the package.
Yeah, but it's handy when they throw themselves away.
Yeah. Yep. All right, so MERV 8. So the next level, most common, goes up to MERV 11. And MERV 11 starts getting into that finer,
Yeah.
airborne stuff, those particles that are in the 2.5 range. Just put it in perspective, when you talk about a PM 2.5, the size of that is 30 times less than your hair follicle. I mean, these are really tiny particles. So that's where the MERV 11 filters out with 98-ish%
Right there.
of that stuff.
Yep, right
All right, so can I just go out and just grab a MERV 11 1-inch filter and put it in my?
there. You can't.
All right.
Be a bad idea.
Bad.
Bad idea.
But what if I got air particles on? You tested. You said I got bad air quality. You should use a MERV 11. I just went and bought a MERV 11. You told me that's bad.
Well, so let me blow your mind here for a second. The reason that that's a bad idea, we're going from big holes. I can see you can see me.
Which is what came.
Yeah.
Potentially came.
Yeah. And then we're going to MERV 8, you see a lot of daylight. You can see that flow, and that's fine. But the holes are a little bit smaller for sure. But it compounds the problem we're talking about these filters clogging. We're talking about how you need to change that every month, maybe even every 2 to 3 weeks. Some houses you might get 2 months out of before you start seeing performance and cooling issues and you're not as comfortable and robbing lights. That problem gets much worse, much worse when you go up to like a MERV 11 on something like this. You see these are called pleats. You see how deep these are there?
About maybe an inch.
So if you spread this out, it would become another, and I'll look in the back, I might have one that's already tore apart, but it might come out to about here if you stretched it out like a pleat. And that's surface area. And you do the pleat so you have more holes. If you're going to go up to a MERV 11, what you need to do is like a 4 or 5 inch deep pleated media filter. Just so happen to have one. Blow your mind right here.
Right there is the turkey.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah, we did have one right for you. So
that's this filter
grab this.
taken apart.
Grab this. Let's stretch it. We want to be fair. Okay. Cool. Yeah. So it's a little bit bigger. That's a surface area that you're
So
pulling.
that's what the air in my house goes through to be filtered out.
It's straining your air. It's filtering your air. Absolutely.
All right.
And so that's this stretched out, the 1 inch. I want you to help me out with something, right? I want you to grab this side, carbon.
All right, and that's 5 inches? That's
Yep.
about 5-inch MERV 11 filter.
Yep. So this
All right.
will be a MERV 11. Once you grab that,
Okay.
this will be pretty dramatic for you, and just start slowly backing up. Just keep going. Just keep going. And watch your step, but don't stop. We're still going. Yeah. All right, now pull that tight for me, right? That's the surface area.
I can't hear you.
It's a surface area
Okay.
for a 5-inch Merle 11 media filter. And when you compare it to something like that, I think it's pretty self-explanatory why these last longer with smaller holes.
So that filter's a 20 by 24?
Yep.
This is a 20 by 20. So these are the same same filter size,
Yeah.
just different surfacing.
Yeah, let me go in the back and pull one that's not torn apart. But if you don't mind rolling it up on me, I'll be right back. Give up yet?
I'm still working. Still working.
Hey, I get that later for you, Ray. It's not a problem.
You got a drink back there?
Yeah.
We're gonna miss it.
A nice soda. Oh, those Cokes here.
Oh. Ah. Look at that. So that's that.
I'll take care of that for you. Yeah, that's this. Or a similar size. Yeah.
All right.
So size-wise, now I could have found one the exact same size, but as far as the footprint of these, they're similar. We definitely gain that advantage when we move up height. So there's some. Yep. Yes. There's a few applications where it's difficult to get something like this installed because it comes with a filter wrap that does lift the unit 4 or 5 inches, 6 inches up. So there are some homes, apartments where it's difficult to install something. There's some other options for those. But most homes, you can install something like this.
So I'm looking at these two. These are Volstead and Merbeek. So they filter out the exact same stuff. They work, as in filter-wise, the exact.
Yep.
The difference is, I gotta change this every month, and because there's a mile of stuff in here, how long do I have to change this?
So that depends. You brought up a good point with testing and guessing. So depending on how tight are your doors, how tight are your windows, how often do you keep your windows open, how many pets do you have? Do you have 18 gerbils and 4 cats? Or do you have 1 dog? How many kids do you have? All of those things come together, how tight your ductwork is, to figure out how much dust is in there. So on a normal house, I'll say this, on a normal house, you can expect to get about 6 months. I've seen some very clean houses get up to a year, but at least 6 months on like a normal application, and possibly a whole year.
So let's see this other filter, because just look at that other filter. I wanna measure how many times I can put this filter into that.
Okay.
So let's start here and let's just roll it. Good morning, Joe here.
Oh yeah.
And how long it is. So what we'll do is we'll lay that down and then we'll count how many of these filters are in that filter.
All right.
These are the same, not the same thickness, but the same width, right? All right, so we've got 1, got 2, got 3. So if I had to change this every month,
Yeah.
and that's all I had, I could do 3 months. Same happens.
Yeah.
All
Exactly.
right, so we got 4. We could be here a while.
Yeah, it's fine.
We got
more coffee. in the back.
5. We got 6. We got 7. We got 8. So if I had to change this one in my house normally every month,
Yeah.
it's now every 8 months because I got 8 of these things.
That's one way to look at it. And absolutely, and in practice, in the field, that's kind of what we see. It backs up that data.
So if this cost me $10,
Yep.
I could pay up to $80 and be the same if I'm changing them at the same frequency.
Yeah, and luckily they're not quite that expensive. To change it.
All right.
You want to see me do it?
I did. I want to see how easy the professionals can do it. See?
Oh no.
I'm gonna go get coffee and a drink and come back.
It's like a Pharaoh's roll.
See, now you're cheating.
Oh, yeah.
That's what happens when you're an expert. You know tricks.
Found the loopholes, right?
Yeah.
So what this is another way I look at it. This is like a coffee stir, and this is a water, or at least one of those really nice milkshake straws from Burger King. I got to lay off of those. But it's like trying to breathe through a coffee stir versus like a snorkel. It's designed for really, really good airflow. It's something I keep in mind is that right there is starving of what people do. Once it fills up with particulates.
So what I heard you say earlier though, MERV 8,
Yep.
the benefit of going to that is just the longevity because you're still going to filter out the same thing. But if I want the finer filter, the MERV 11s or the MERV 13, you can't do it with a 1 or you can, but you're going to be changing it weekly or because they're going to still catch all the same stuff.
So going
but
back
really quickly.
Absolutely, and so that's true. But what I would say is that even brand new to breeding. So this is a MERV 8, brand new MERV 8. Does a decent job of filtering, does an okay job of breathing. When you go up to a MERV, even a MERV 8 and a 5-inch, and you're breathing 3 and 4 times as good. You know, the numbers are a little bit different depending on application, but new versus new, you're still breathing better. And you're getting more airflow to your
Breathing better means better cooling, better performance,
more airflow,
less
more
wear and
cooling.
tear.
Yep.
So overall cost of ownership on the system or to cool the air should go down with something like that.
Yeah, and you're gonna feel better about habits.
All right. Well, I think that's a lot to digest, and I think this is more about filters than anyone really wanted to know. What I hear, if I'm going to compact it down, is you don't know what you don't know, so you got to test.
Gotta test. If you're not testing, you're
Yes,
Exactly.
that's what you're guessing.
yeah.
And then if I do have concerns about allergies or dust, the natural evolution isn't going into a more expensive 1-inch filter, but to a more expensive media thicker filter for multiple.
Yeah.
All right.
The last one I would say for any your followers out there is that you can't just throw this in a typical AC. There is a little bit of an install when it comes to the wrap. The good news about it though, what I found a lot of customers benefit, we talked about air quality, we talked about saving money over time, better comfort. But changing filters suck. Changing filters suck for a lot of our people for whatever the reason these 1 inches, they kind of fall apart. So one of the other benefits is these are a lot easier to slide in and out. The cover just pops off. And this big cassette style just pops in. A lot easier for people to change their own filters. Not only do you have to do it less often, but if you do it, if we don't do it for you, super easy.
So when you talk about a rack, I caught out of the corner of my eye here. It's actually not a rack down there.
Yeah, we got that.
You want to show what we're doing?
Absolutely.
And I assume this isn't something you put up in the ceiling anymore where I got to put a ladder out. This goes on in around my unit.
So a couple different ways you can do it. This could be your return plenum, and plenum is a fancy word for basically a solid duct that comes and feeds air into and takes air away from your unit. So this can install there or directly underneath your unit. So there's a few different ways you can hook this up. But the ease of use for especially some of our older customers is they just hate fiddling, and I ask them, hey, how often do you change the filter? And a lot of them tell me, not often enough, but it's a pain in the butt to try to change. This helps with that. It just pops it off. You know, this right here helps with the seal, so we have a better seal. This pops off, and there's little tabs in there that can pop out, and it just literally slides right in and out, just like that. It's a really nice tight fit, but it doesn't bind up. And then this goes right back, and it just clips in, and it's perfectly sealed. There's no screws, there's no thumb screws, there's no Phillips head screwdrivers. It pops in, it pops out. A lot of our customers find this a lot nicer than fiddling with a 1-inch filter.
All right. Well, like I said, I think that's more about filters than I ever wanted to know.
If any of your followers have any questions, they can call in and we'd be happy to
Oh,
talk
we're
to
gonna
them.
get loads of questions.
Yeah.
And I will definitely get and we'll post the answers as they come in, because I am sure there are things I did not ask, should have. But from there, that's one part of indoor air quality. We'll have to come back later and learn about that other stuff.
Can't wait.